So why are people putting so much money and putting new money into buying stocks in 2022, and particularly in earlier 2022? We know the first and second quarter of the year of 2022 has been the worst since 2009. And what was the 2009? That was the Great Recession. And why do you think investors are doing this? Why are they putting money in? Shouldn't they be going the traditional flight to safety and put money in bonds or cash? And actually the studies are showing that people are putting more money in the stock market. In fact, there's been $195 billion of net inflows into the stock market, in the US stock market, $195 billion coming in to the stock market, not going up, but coming in. So why is that? Why, when there's a bear market and stocks are really getting crushed, why are people buying stocks? We're going to explore that a little bit more here coming up on Investing Education with me, Mr. B. Welcome to the channel where we help you to learn fast so you can become a confident and successful investor. That sounds interesting to you? Hey, do hit that subscribe button. Also check out the free courses and all the courses we have in the description below. All right, so money's flowing in. Money is coming into the stock market. I was surprised when I heard this, by the way. Typically what people do is they take money out. And that's not necessarily a good thing because they're selling low, right? As opposed to buy low and sell high, they're buying high and selling low. So I was kind of encouraged that we have money coming in, maybe people buying in low. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Well, who's to know? But let's talk about why that might be. And I think there's some good investing tips around this too. So one thing I think why money is coming in is there are a lot of people who are understanding the concept of longer time horizons, particularly around the concepts of buying and holding, right? So they're continually buying and they're continually holding, and they're holding through good times, but they're also holding through bad times. We're actually seeing this even more in the cryptocurrency space, where that's really plunged in the first 2 quarters of the year. I think Bitcoin was down around 70%, Ethereum similar. And with that, but people are still holding on. Hold HODL, hold on for dear life in the crypto space. So the same thing in the stock market. So I think people are becoming more educated and they understand the advantages of buy and hold investing, and certainly over a long time horizon. So they're not panicking maybe as quickly and selling, and they're actually, if anything, putting more money in. That's where we're seeing 195 billion coming in. So that's a good investment tip, a good thing. Also, a lot of people are you've heard the term maybe buy the dip, right? This is all about buying low and selling high, right? So they're looking at these good companies and they're seeing that really discounted cheap prices is the idea. They've gone up in price, now they've come down, the whole market's come down, there's a bear market on it, and there's opportunities to get in maybe on some companies that were interesting to you that you've always thought were always kind of overpriced, but maybe now they're more fairly priced, or maybe even undervalued, where you're buying them at a value or a discount. In fact, I have a whole course around value investing, which is kind of like Warren Buffett's strategy, where you're buying undervalued companies, good companies that are undervalued at a particular moment in time, with the idea that they're going to rise in value. So people are buying the dip and they're looking for those great opportunities. The other thing that I've always believed in too is automatic investing, right? So you have a regular investing setup. You might have heard the term dollar cost averaging, where you've got regular amounts of money going in. It could be wherever you're from. It could be rupees. It could be euros. The idea is that you've automatically set up things to take a certain amount of percentage or a certain amount of currency or cash or dollars, rupees, whatever it is, out of your paycheck, and using that to automatically buy things. Buy into broad-based, let's say, exchange traded funds or mutual funds as an example. So it's automatically happening. So people who have this set up, and I'm a big believer in it, I did it all my life, they're automatically buying into things, and thus money is still flowing in, right? They're still earning a paycheck, and money flows in, and they're still buying stocks, and they're not thinking about, actively trading stocks or anything. They're just letting that process work, that automation process work. It ties in well with buy and hold. It ties in well with a long time horizon, because you're regularly putting money in. And sometimes when you're regularly automatically putting money in, you'll buy stocks that might be a little bit a higher price. But when these times, when the stocks are down, you're actually buying them at a lower price. And so I think that's helping to keep the whole market up better instead of a whole big crash. And also while we have net inflows of money, because of all that automatic investing is still coming in. The retail investor, folks, just regular folks like you and me, are actually very, very powerful forces put together. You think about like the big pension funds or the big hedge fund managers, and that's important too. Those institutional investors have a certain amount of space and are important. But collectively, they're not as impactful as the retail investor. So you and I have a lot of power in terms of how that happens when we do it collectively. Not as individuals, but collectively, we are very, very important to what happens in the market. And automated investing is a piece of that. I think also as people become more educated, they're also understanding that if they sell now, they're locking in a loss, right? If you hold something, you think it's going to rebound, hold on to it and it's going to rebound, that's great. If you think it's not going to rebound, you just need to make a change and you sell, but you're selling not because you're panicking, you're selling because it's part of your general strategy or what you're looking to do. But they do know that if you're selling, you might lock in a loss. And then you can move that money to somewhere else. Now, sometimes you can actually lock in a loss or take that loss intentionally, and with at least USA and other countries might be a similar thing, where you can have tax loss harvesting. The idea is I've had profit on my stocks, maybe I've gotten dividends and other income coming in and I've had this profit. Now I can sell some stocks at a loss and use that money to offset my profit, reducing my taxable bill, my capital gains tax that I would have a tax on that. That sounds a little complicated. Maybe I went through that real fast. The idea is to intentionally sell to offset profits with some losses. I have a whole video around tax loss harvesting. Take a look at that, and that might be a strategy you might be wanting to do, is to harvest some of those losses and then buy into something else and then apply those losses to your gains. So the people are understanding both how to not lock in a loss, but also being smart and strategic about using things like tax loss harvesting. Another reason why I think money is flowing into the stock market is, frankly, there's a lot of lack of alternatives. Usually when the stock market goes crashing down, then people are more attracted to things like bonds and cash. But bonds came way down as well. And cash might start coming up in terms of like interest rates and things, such as inflation, and the central banks like the Fed raise interest rates. We'll start seeing better interest rates in cash. But right now, there isn't really super great interest rates in cash, and they're still not really keeping up with inflation. So if everything's going down, crypto's way down, bonds are down, cash is down, interest rates are rising, you don't have a lot of alternatives. You can look at maybe Forex or be strategic with it, but there's a lack of different alternatives that are out there. Also, people are understanding there are times to sell, times to buy, and times to hold, right? And so I think a lot of folks are recognizing, again, that this might not be a time to sell, it might be a time to hold. And actually for aggressive investors, and historically what I've done during the Great Recession, during COVID and all that, we've had these downdrafts, is these are opportunities actually to buy. So if anything, I'm looking more to hold and buy. And that is what a lot of people are doing, and thus money is either staying the same or coming into the stock market. And we'll have a video also on when to sell, gets into great detail on how to sell and when to sell. Check out those videos. Go check out the whole subscription and the whole homepage with all these different videos I have around that. So if you subscribe, you get all that good stuff. So the key in all this is that you're in charge of your investing. And sometimes the best advice is to focus on yourself and your goals, and don't let all the noise and chatter and all the stuff that's going around you, affect you. Everybody's like, oh, it's doom, 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 everything's bad. And I'm hearing that too. And that's when I saw that there was 196 billion coming into the stock market, even with all this negativity. Well, I thought that was very encouraging, because when it starts to rebound and comes up out of that bear market and starts going back into a bull market, we're going to start at a higher base. And I think that's going to be a great opportunity. So if anything, hold now. Maybe there's some opportunities to buy. If you want to sell something to lock in a loss, or you want to sell something because it's the right time to sell, do it. But the main thing is that whatever your plan is to stick to your plan and to continue to educate yourself and all that too. So check out the channel as far as the education part. So go ahead and subscribe. Check out the videos and things. The free courses in the description below would be great too. But I thought this was a very interesting thing, and I wanted to share with you. If you have any other comments around that, or what your thoughts might be, put that in the comments too as well. With that, hey, I wish you all the very best of luck.